What's going on, Force family, and welcome back to Star Wars Guys. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why is he wearing this black robe? I'm glad you asked, because this episode, we're diving into the return of Hayden Christensen. And not just for the Kenobi series, but also the recent news that broke about him joining the Ahsoka show as well. We got a great one for you, and since we're new to YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you all enjoy this episode, and as always, may the Force be with you.
Honey, little honey, it is you, honey.
Hey, Force family, welcome back to the Star Wars Guys podcast. We're your hosts, Mike,
Hey.
Nate,
Hey.
and you know him well, Uncle.
Love it. I love
We
it.
got
Hello there.
I think we have a really great show planned for you
excited.
guys.
This is a good one.
Big news in the Star Wars universe this week, and we're going to dive in with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get right into it. There's a lot to cover here. Many of you may have seen on social media that news, I believe it was the Hollywood Reporter that broke the story, that Anakin Skywalker, Hayden Christensen himself, Anakin, Vader, however you want to refer to him, shall be returning as Anakin Skywalker not only in the Kenobi series, which obviously had been previously
We've been
announced
counting on that
by Lucasfilm itself.
That's old news.
That's old news. That is not the news you're looking for.
Move along.
But he will also move along.
Come back, though.
Come back. It's we've got to hear the announcement. He has actually also been announced, not by Lucasfilm yet, but it's confirmed by the Hollywood Reporter, who's a pretty reputable source on this stuff, that he will also be appearing, Hayden Christensen shall be appearing in the upcoming Ahsoka series.
Yeah.
Which,
all
yep.
right. Woo.
Who's Ahsoka?
Woo!
Who's Ahsoka? I don't think we've ever talked about her before.
She is Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
Basically.
And the subtitle is Sky Guy and Snips.
Sky Guy and Snips.
At it again.
Yes.
Add it
I
again.
don't think that's it.
I don't know this. I think I saw that it was deleted, but I heard that Rosario Dawson posted something.
Oh,
on,
she did. I
Really?
saw
Said
it.
something about like see you soon, Sky Guy, or
See you
something
soon,
like
Sky
that.
Guy.
Oh,
and
man.
then I think we even put like dash Snips, like from Snips.
Oh, I love
basically.
that. She should know. That's good that she knows
And then,
that.
and then I heard that she took that down, and
Yeah.
I assumed that she got a message from Mickey Mouse himself. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rosario, you gotta take that down, pal. That's not how we do business. Who do you think you are, Giancarlo Esposito? Yeah.
Who do you think?
Gosh.
So so we're excited. So on this podcast, we're going to talk about
Yeah.
that news, but we're going to talk about all things Hayden Christensen. We're going to speculate on what we can expect his role to be, make some predictions about his role in the Ahsoka series, also in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and then also maybe we can even touch on just Hayden as Anakin now that we're kind of years removed from the prequels. And the reason we talk about this is when you see the news break online, everyone's obviously, I got really excited about it. We were excited. We were in a group
yeah.
text. We sent
Oh,
the
yeah.
text, and everyone got
Awesome.
really excited. It's just funny to see everyone come a long way from the just kind of general reaction or
Yeah.
feelings,
Time-
dislike.
Time heals all wounds.
That's what we're getting.
And
at.
in 100 years, we'll be so excited for Jar Jar.
We
Oh
will
my
be-
god.
It just takes time.
I
Honestly-
think if he got announced that Jar Jar was back, I think people would love it.
They would love it.
I
Can
think
you
they would
imagine?
love it right now.
Absolutely.
Because it's become part of like, at first it was like, who is this? This is brutal.
Right.
But
We're in on
some
it
of the
together
things that
now.
people love about Star Wars are
Yeah.
the gas, like are the mess ups, the stormtrooper hitting his helmet on. Like, and now
Right.
we look back at it and you're like,
Yeah.
only some deep lore
Even the
people that
well-planned
really,
ones.
you know what I mean? Like they'll,
Right.
And
they'll catch those things.
Ahmed Best
sure.
came back for a couple of little, like as a Jedi for some of the digital
Yeah,
Star Wars
yeah.
stuff that they did last year with some of like the children's games, and he was a host. He was like a Jedi host. He's back in the Star Wars
Yeah.
world, and if anyone who knows just the behind the scenes story of just kind of how much flack and hate he
Yeah.
took.
Oh, man.
Obviously, there's
brutal.
the Jake Lloyds of the world and those guys.
Well, you
who-
can't do his over. It's a shame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's, I think that people would be really excited for, if you heard that there was imagine what a 2021, 22, 23, whatever year it would be in animation of
Yeah, that's
Jar Jar
true.
would even look like.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like how much boundary pushing
Oh,
it was
man.
to make, and just think of what he would. I mean,
think-
with what they can do now.
They redo it and it's Andy Serkis's voice.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if they brought
Circus
Jar
could
Jar,
do
I think
anybody.
this would be hilarious. You guys
Misa
could
muy muy
disagree.
angry.
You can disagree, but what if they just doubled down on how goofy Jar Jar was and they brought it back
Oh,
and just like,
man.
we get it. There, he was.
Right.
They made a joke out of him, right? A lot of people didn't like it, but they just doubled down on like, hey, we're in on the joke now.
Yeah.
Let's make him even.
Well,
Let's
that's
go.
been George's whole thing. Was George?
go.
George, and
Let's make
again,
him even
not
goofier.
saying that people didn't have any right or anything to feel a certain way about Jar Jar, but whenever George was asked about it, he said, "Yeah, I made Jar Jar for 10-year-olds. Like that's who it was for. So
Right.
like,
Right.
the adults are upset about it. Like that's okay. You can be upset. I didn't make that for
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like there's other characters I think their view. And I have heard like it's
Yeah.
funny talking with.
I mean, I was that age. I loved Jar Jar.
Oh, if you watch a kid who watches Jar Jar, there's gonna be a handful of them are kind of like not for me, and then all of a sudden they see him step and poop, and they go, oh, that's pretty funny. He
That's
stepped and
right.
poop. Like,
Or
there's
his
something about it
tongue
that some
long.
people love
I
it.
got like 3 Jar Jar action figures back there.
So,
Orchidea?
no, okay,
Anna?
okay.
Yeah.
So
Hayden Christensen.
let's get to it. We have
Yeah.
enough of Jar Jar. We're on a time crunch here.
Ready?
Let's get going.
First off, I don't know what you guys thought, and maybe this was just the wording of some of the leaks or whatever that came out, or the news, I guess, that came out. But I thought it was interesting, and it's not that big, but it made me think the wording, because I went back and looked at the wording for the announcement of Hayden Christensen coming back for Obi-Wan,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the wording was, we'll reprise his role as Darth Vader. The stuff that was being talked about in this was is coming back as Anakin Skywalker,
Right.
which is different. So, knowing that he's dead at this timeline, right?
Yep.
Vader's already passed. It just made me think, obviously this isn't going to be like a vision or something that Ahsoka will be, somehow in contact with, and it's like remembering Vader, or even like a flashback. It could be. There could be some flashbacks of Vader, but saying Anakin Skywalker makes me think, is it going to be Force Ghost? Will it be flashbacks and we see them two together in Clone Wars like era? Her thinking back
Mhm.
on the times that they had.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
based on the time, based on the what we can speculate of the timeline of the show from what Dave Filoni has said, it seems like the majority of the show, and like you said, there could be flashbacks. There could maybe
Yeah.
it's split in 2 times. Some of the show, it seems, is going to take place in that Mandalorian. They cast Rosario Dawson,
Right.
so we've already
Right.
seen that she
Right.
is the
Yeah.
post Return of the Jedi,
Mission Thrawn.
looking for Thrawn,
Yep.
looking for, now we can say because
Right.
you've caught up on Rebels, looking
Right.
for Ezra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like you said, this is how does a Rosario Dawson
I have an
meet-
idea. Well, what
Let's
do we
hear it.
all want to see?
I know what I want to see, but I don't know if it's what you're thinking.
I'll tell you what I want to see. I want to see Ahsoka experience the fact that everything's okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what she needs to. That everything
Yeah.
that came, because she didn't get the ending of the story of.
Right.
we need
the
that
redemption-
campfire scene between
We
them.
need that redemption.
Yeah.
She needs to
yeah.
experience
that.
that.
Specifically,
That'll come not
Yeah.
at the
And
beginning.
they specifically they show that in Mandalorian.
Right.
That's not, again, we know Favreau and Filoni especially doesn't
Mhm.
just, they don't throw away, especially anything with Ahsoka.
Right.
And he did that episode.
Oh, there's
Nothing is
everything
throwaway.
That's
None
exactly
of those
right.
lines.
Yeah.
She showed
Yeah.
that she has this brokenness inside her, and this.
Yes.
I'm not
This
going to let it
guilt
happen.
and
I'm
all
not going
that.
to train this
That's right.
little one.
And she
I'm not
said
gonna
this
train
happened. This
Grogu.
happened to a great Jedi before, and she obviously is thinking about Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
not like, but things worked out, and that you can tell at least what they hint at. She doesn't know.
Doesn't
she
know.
doesn't
At
know
least that's
that
what it seems like.
he's also the one who
Yeah.
destroyed the Emperor.
That's
I
right.
think,
So-
yeah. Basically, to sum up what I believe you guys are saying is the idea that there's room for her to, whether it's finding out directly through Force Ghost, Hayden Christensen,
Yep.
Anakin Skywalker, and seeing that conversation of him, one, being a Force Ghost, which
Yep.
what we know of as a Jedi trait,
Yeah.
but also saying, no, like, you were right the whole time about me. I was
Right.
wrong in what I did.
Well, think
my
about.
son Luke,
Right.
like basically having that conversation of I turned back to the light.
Well, and it could even go deeper than that, because remember, Luke was still being trained by Obi-Wan after as a Force ghost.
Yeah.
He still came and interacted.
Mm-hmm.
So
What if-
why couldn't
Well, if he actually trained
Anakin
her.
still be able to interact and guide Ahsoka
Yeah.
as a Force ghost?
Yeah.
And thanks to the
That would be cool.
and thanks to the edits of how that Return of the Jedi scene has changed over the years, Anakin Skywalker
Does
as
allow-
Hayden is a
Right.
ghost, is a
Right.
Force ghost
Yeah.
in canon.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
it's
And that makes a lot of sense why
Yeah.
they did that.
I
yeah.
like what you're saying though
'Cause
about
Luke would be like,
this.
Who's that guy?
I like what
Why
you're saying
they-
about the training thing too, because what we know now, I mean, unless you guys know something, I don't know nothing about what this show is. We can speculate that it might take place of what we saw last in Mando,
Mhm.
where it's potential storyline for Thrawn and Ezra,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But we do know that she is involved with deeper Force things in the Star Wars universe of the world between worlds.
Yeah.
There's things out there that she
Mortis.
is involved with.
Right.
Mortis. So could Anakin, who's also been involved with Mortis, right?
Mhm.
Who knows what he learned as a Sith, could this also turn to seeing some of that learning of the Force abilities of
Mhm.
learning new stuff about, or like how to get the ability to become a Force ghost when she moves on, or what can
Right.
she still do to help people from afar?
Right.
Because we don't see her in all of the sequels. We don't see her in with Rey and but who's to say she's not still doing things or helping in other ways that
Right.
Anakin could be helping teach? That I don't know. There's a
This
lot.
is what the
lot
interesting
to-
thing
to
is.
think about.
Well, we thought the Emperor was dead, but he's actually not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's room for that
Yeah.
Anakin would know.
too.
He would know,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
feel like he would have an idea of like
I
what,
can sense something is
Palpatine
still
is-
it's not over.
or even have an idea like, yeah, I know he was working on like this is stuff we were working
Cloning.
on.
Yeah.
We were working on cloning.
Yes.
By the way,
Who knows?
this reminds me, side note, did any of you guys see the announcement of the books that are coming out? Talking about Ochi of
Mm-mm.
Bastoon, and so about Luke
saw
and
some of that, yeah.
Lando.
Yeah, Luke and Lando.
Luke
yeah.
and Lando, the Rise of Skywalker,
Yep.
when they're chasing Ochi of Bastoon
Yeah.
to find the dagger and to
Right.
hunt down. Basically, they talk about there's a book coming out about Luke searching for Exegol,
Oh wow.
and that there's supposed to be a lot in there that people are like, if you want more Luke Skywalker in his prime
Wow.
with Lando,
Going after the
hunting
secrets of the
secrets
Sith
of the
and-
Sith, understanding like that book is gonna be. They just officially announced it like a couple weeks ago,
Wow. Yeah, I
which
did
means
see
that book's already underway. So that'll
Man.
be it's supposed to come out like next year, I believe.
Oh,
So that should be exciting.
Cool.
That just reminded
Yeah.
me when we were talking about
yeah.
Exegol and about
Yeah.
Yeah.
it not being over and what Anakin could know. So
True.
yeah,
So I think oh that's good.
there's a lot there.
I was gonna say we've done some predictions for Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we come with some things that maybe some some things we gotta see,
We need some
things
Ahsoka
we-
answers.
some things we hope we see,
Some Ahsoka answers
Right.
now.
and maybe some things we hope we don't see. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
like
love it.
that.
What
I
are
like
we
that.
not? What are we hoping? Let's don't go there.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
I love it. Let's start throwing some stuff out
Yeah.
there.
What do you think?
I would say now I'll start off with the easy one that I think knowing the people who are behind it, knowing
We're gonna be safe on the don't see probably stuff.
yeah, and knowing that Dave is in charge of this and how much he's obsessed with the Ahsoka character, rightfully
Right.
so. It's his
Yeah.
kind of his baby that he's created into one of the most beloved Star Wars characters of all time, possibly Nate's favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
He's mentioned it.
Ahsoka, Ezra, Ahsoka.
Ahsoka, Ezra. Zeb.
Zeb.
Chopper.
So I would just say one thing I think we all wouldn't want to see, which I'm almost positive this isn't going to happen, is that it's just like a small cameo, and that like Hayden wouldn't be in it very much.
Yeah.
Now again, I do think we need to manage expectations because this is not the Ahsoka and Anakin Skywalker show.
That's right.
Right.
Anakin's
It's not Clone
Same
Wars.
with same
no,
with
it is
Obi-Wan.
not. This is not
It's-
Clone Wars.
Same with
Anakin,
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan
I'm
too.
trying to not think that he'll be in all of it or whatever because
Right.
Yeah, you have to know
there's
that
room to
this
believe
is,
that he could be, but who knows? I mean, it could-
especially with Ahsoka's character and Dave behind it, whatever Anakin's role is going to be, which is why I think it even being announced, they wouldn't bring Hayden Christensen back for just like
Yeah,
hey,
sure,
hey,
sure.
Snips. And
No, they're
nice
gonna
guy
try
guy.
and do them well. Yeah.
But I think that whatever it's going to be, obviously, is to help serve as a portion of telling more of the Ahsoka story, of Ahsoka's character, and that's why I think one of the things we all want to see is some sort of conversation between Anakin about the fate of Vader, about what happened, and put her at peace. Because last we've seen, and that's what's exciting about where this can go, is we love Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's been around a while. Clone Wars Ahsoka, Rebels Ahsoka.
Yep.
Now end of Rebels, post little credit thing, where it fast forwards all the way through Return of the Jedi, and she's there about to go off looking for Thrawn, matched with where that is in the timeline, somewhere around the timeline of where we see her in Mando, saying where's Thrawn. But we don't know what the rest of her. We don't know how her story ends. We don't know where that's going, other than we don't see her and we don't see her with Rey. We don't see her with Rise of Sky. With Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. But we have no clue where it's going. So that's what's exciting about it. The don't I would say is, I don't think Dave would do it, but not just like a little cameo, and I don't think he would be hokey about it. And the do is one for sure I would like to see, is that conversation so that there's some peace there about Anakin's fate.
I feel like, yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel Ahsoka's character has gone through, essentially, I feel like we've seen more of an all-around beginning to end of Ahsoka's character than even like Anakin. Because like, even though in episode 1 we see him as a real little kid, he jumps up, he's pretty old in episode 2.
Yeah.
I feel like Ahsoka we've seen from like super young Padawan all the stories through Clone Wars and Rebels,
right,
and now into Mando and getting her own show.
Yeah.
We've seen the highest of the highs where everything's fine. She's going on missions, leading battalions in the Clone Wars, and things are, seem to be going well. War's almost over. To immediately everything she really cared about was stripped away from her. She leaves the Order.
To her fighting.
Gets turned on her by her whole family.
Yeah.
The one person essentially that she cared more about than anybody was her master and Anakin, who turns to Vader, tries to kill her. But not only that, I think the conversation that some of us are hoping for, at least think, is likely to maybe come in the Ahsoka show, now that Hayden Christensen is announced to be in that, is not just for her to think Anakin was okay and that, hey, he made it back, but for herself to feel like, I didn't fail him in leaving the Order.
That's right.
Because just like Obi-Wan probably feels, that we'll probably see in that show, of I failed. I'm living with this failure of like, he became what happened because of me.
I didn't go
And a
with
lot
him.
of people might think like, I failed him as a master, right? He would think that those types of thoughts. It'd be easy to think like, I failed. I was the
She's
one
thinking
responsible.
like, even if I stayed,
she's thinking,
I could have stopped at least.
That's
I could
right.
have prevented.
because we
talking
saw
out of
these visions and stuff that she was dealing with of Anakin being like, "You left me. Why'd you leave
That's
me?
right.
Like, this is so." And like that, do you know what I've become? Like, we saw that in
scene
Rebels.
in Rebels. Oh,
Scene in
I know.
Rebels,
So
like, do you
good.
know what I've become? Like, her trying to think of like, that's actually Anakin. So for her now, she's lived with this, so to speak, guilt, whether it's valor or not. This guilt and this weight on her of thinking, it's my fault if I didn't leave, if I stuck around, none of this would have happened. So not just for the sake of it, Vader feeling at peace that, okay, he turned good and that's a good thing, the war, all that stuff kind of ended,
Yeah.
but also for herself to realize, I still made the right decision in leaving and doing what I thought was best at the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
She got Uncle.
For sure. I think there's going to be room to explore whether or not, we heard Luke talking a lot about, I can feel the conflict within you. When did that begin? When did that conflict start in Vader? Did
Sure.
it begin Did it begin with the encounters with Ahsoka? Is he already like questioning, where am I in this thing, or is he solid hate like we see in Rogue One?
Yeah, true.
And I think there's a pathway there that's going to connect with Ahsoka, and I predict that the beginning of his redemption is with an encounter with Ahsoka. Like that kind of
Like Rebels,
yes.
when they go to the temple,
Yes.
he shows up and Ahsoka's there, slices, and you see his face.
Right.
Ahsoka.
She's going to have a hand in actually. They're going to show that. I think they're going to flesh.
And it
that
wasn't just
part
all
out.
Luke. It wasn't all Luke. It
No,
was,
I think
it
they're gonna-
was
They're going to.
Snips.
That's pulling him too, because
Yeah,
I think there may be room to flesh that out
I think you're
somehow
right.
in
I think you're right.
the timeline.
Not just for her to also feel like part of his redemption was due to her, not just because Luke came and was like, "Hey, I'm your son,"
Exactly.
and I couldn't kill my son,
That's
so
right.
I turned back good. But also because I had conflict this whole time because
That's
of
right. And
what
we see
I
those
did
moments
of my confrontation with you, him realizing in that moment, even though we were fighting, and I said, "You must die," then
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't kill you.
Right.
I couldn't do it then.
So yeah. So not only did
Knowing
you
that
did you
that's
not.
when the conflict started doing is like, even though I said it,
That's right.
I knew when I said it, I couldn't do it.
So not only did you not push me down this path, you actually had a hand in bringing me back.
Yeah,
I think that would be a very Filoni.
I think
And
you're
I
right.
think
That
that
Ahsoka
could be-
could almost be a
makes sense.
catalyst.
There could be a Kylo.
Yeah.
There's a little bit
It's-
of a Kylo parallel.
that's what I was
there,
gonna
too, of
say
like,
too.
Right.
The cracks, and again, they obviously even use like the legitimate cracks in Kylo's mask later on
Right.
to really even,
Right.
as a metaphor, just
Yeah.
or symbolize that. But say Anakin gets to that moment there, and he's like, "Well, then you will die," and he has that whole thing.
Yeah,
like
it's like he,
Mhm.
he
to
snaps
Rebels of
back
like,
out of it. And he goes,
Right.
of I'm feeling vulnerable around you. You're eating it, and it makes me feel conflicted and broken inside.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced that if I kill you, maybe he does. Maybe that is the dark side. That if I kill you, that'll just finally put this to rest. Now, maybe it's a different twist where Kylo kills Han, and it actually tears him up even more. Because
That's
then
right.
he's like, well, now I've actually eats him up, and he realizes he's done something wrong. So he just tries to go further and further and further, but the guilt continues to eat at him.
Yes.
And then finally
Yeah.
gets redemption at the end, where his might be, he feels I have to do this, and then he misses out and doesn't get a chance to do it. And now he's like, well, I thought that was going to give me peace, and now I'm just left with our confrontation that rattled me,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm going to keep going about my thing, but I've got this lingering here.
Yeah.
And then maybe he has another conversation with her, maybe he doesn't, but that seed's been planted. And then Luke comes around, and now he's already more vulnerable.
Right.
And now Luke gets on his, there's maybe before he's even seen Luke the first time, because of the conversation with Ahsoka, it's already been in his head,
Yes.
and it's just the Ahsoka Luke combo, like you said,
Yeah.
is what eventually gets to him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
It'd
Yeah.
be cool.
I think so. I think you're on
Be
to something
cool.
there. I definitely do.
There's just so much of their, like we've said before, there's so much of their characters that are linked. Like,
Yes.
one of the reasons we talk about it the most maybe on this show of, oh, what do we love about Clone Wars? And we say all the time, like, well, it's love the Maul stuff. Maul stuff is cool. Love how they expand on Dooku, but love the establishment of Ahsoka, and love the way they flesh out Anakin's character
Yeah,
a lot
For
more,
sure.
and his relationship with her.
and that's the opposite
shows
side of the coin.
thing that they really didn't show a lot
Right.
of when she talks about, like, he was the best of us.
Mhm.
And we didn't see a lot of that. We saw that
Right.
he was powerful, like in the prequel movies, which we love, but they have
But
their
that's not
flaws
the
and
same
stuff.
thing.
It's
yeah.
not the same as showing that he would. We saw some friendly banter with Obi-Wan, but they kind of are like snip at each other like brother snips. See what I did there? They
Right.
snap at each other a little bit like brothers. But the difference between a master and apprentice, his relationship he had with her, they were tight. Like, that's why
That's right.
this is why
Yeah.
it was heartbreaking for her to just even leave the
Well,
order.
what's the line she
She's leaving
says?
Anakin.
Most people don't know how kind he was.
Most
Yeah.
people would be surprised with how kind he
How
was.
kind he
he
was.
was.
Exactly.
That's right.
So it's I just think that it makes, right when they made the announcement, it was like, no way, they're actually doing it. That's awesome. Also, it makes total sense. Even though the time
Almost-
period,
right.
the time period is the tricky
Yeah.
part of, I just wonder how it's almost similar to the Luke thing of,
Right.
Luke made the most sense to show up in Mando. We were just like, I don't know how they're going to do it, or what's the what's the thing technologically wise. This is, I just wondered time, like story wise, flashback or this,
Yeah.
but it makes sense that when you think Ahsoka, you also think of Anakin.
Well, yeah, if you're thinking about developing Ahsoka, the one regret, the one tragedy, the one heartbreak is
Especially at that stage in her
Yeah.
life.
Right,
They've already
is
teased that that's
Anakin.
still eating
Yeah.
at her.
to not have that be part of the show. You'd be like,
Yeah.
what is she? She's just
Yeah.
she's just walking around doing stuff. There's
She's
no-
going to get no
Yeah.
resolution
That's her
from
past.
that they've already
Right.
teased is eating at
And
her
it's
heart.
clear she needs to resolve that before she can train anybody anymore.
Mhm.
Because that's what she basically said.
That's why
I
she couldn't
can't
train
train it
Grogu.
because I don't feel like I'm fit to do it
Yeah.
because I still have this thing lingering. So she's just like, I'll just go after Thrawn. I'll do the stuff myself. I'm not going to train because I can't see that. I can't see
Lost.
someone. I can't get close to someone again and let that happen.
It's gonna be cool.
But this is all while you guys are talking made me think. Just throwing stuff out there. What would be the entrance of
Oh
that?
man, I'm,
of,
good. I'm so
of
good
that,
at these.
That conversation. Would it be like Ahsoka's in a place where she's seeking out to try and communicate with him?
Mhm.
Or is it like Ahsoka's in a down moment and all you hear from behind is, "Hey, Snips."
Well, let's put.
I was joking about that because I remember we were talking about Ahsoka episode. How's it going to start? How's she going to come in? Is she going to just like appear? Or is she going to walk up? Or it was like better
We were
than
pretty
anything we
close.
expected.
We ended up saying she would have some like lightsaber entrance and
Yeah.
They crushed that. Oh,
Yeah, that
gosh.
was
crazy.
Samurai episode.
That was
amazing.
so cool.
I thought I said samurai.
Redefined Jedi. I mean, literally redefined what a Jedi
I thought I
is.
said she'd come in as a samurai. I didn't say
Samurai?
Quick bet though. We need Ahsoka answers here.
Ahsoka assumptions.
Ahsoka assumptions. Let's make
This
some
is
Ahsoka assumptions.
fantastic.
That's it.
Guys,
That's
if
it.
you-
Ahsoka stabs in
that.
the
If you don't
dark.
like this content, I mean, what more?
Let's
can we
make
do?
it. Let's make an Ahsoka assumption here, or wager, whatever you want. Do we say at least one time? Will we get a snips out of Hayden Christensen's mouth? Yes or no? Do we think that that's too much? Do they think it would be cheesy, or is it one time that people that would enjoy it would like it, and that
Let
other
me-
people wouldn't be annoyed enough?
Let me
Like,
ask
I
you a
don't think you
question.
should say it 100 times. I think that would be
Clarify for me. Okay. How close were Dave Filoni and George Lucas at the beginning of Clone Wars? In other words, who was driving the ship at the beginning as opposed to the end?
So
was Filoni always in control, or was it?
George had the big ideas. Like
Yeah.
George
Okay.
created the whole idea of Mortis, all that, and that's even like further on.
Well, that's
Okay,
a lot
but
of the deeper
we know,
lore he
like-
wanted to get.
but
into.
Season
he-
1 is like set, and then somebody's like, "Yeah, but what if we?"
Yeah.
Did
So
that
I
happen
think there
with
were a lot
Filoni?
of. I know that Dave is the Ahsoka guy,
Okay.
and that was
Yeah.
his character. I don't know what George with their collaboration of if George's like, this is what we should do with Ahsoka and do this. I do know that George, I think from the things I've read at the beginning, I think he was less involved obviously as it went on, but was still communicating with him of here's still the bigger picture in my mind of what I'd like to be told of get from here to get to here.
yeah.
And Dave was the on the ground
Okay.
guy that's like, okay, but here's how we're gonna do it. And George wasn't all of a sudden sitting in the meetings every day throughout. But at the beginning, I believe he was. He was like, we got to do this. He's sitting in there. They're
Sure.
storyboarding. They're
My
doing all
gut
this
feels
stuff.
like Snips and Sky Guy was a George Lucas,
It felt.
and
yeah.
and maybe not Dave Filoni.
It does feel like a Lucas. It feels like a Roger.
I'm ready.
Roger.
I'll play some
Answer without thinking. Would you be a little sad if it didn't happen? You're thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
The
I'm in
answer is I
between.
would be.
I would be.
I'd be a little sad if it
Yeah.
didn't happen.
I think that it will. I think.
Just because it's just
I have
like
a feeling.
I think
I'll
it
be
will.
honest.
it would be kind of sweet.
You say it won't.
I don't think it will.
I don't think
In
Sky
this
Guy would come up.
season.
I think
If they make another
Snips might
season-
happen.
No, that's what I was saying. I think Snips because
Snips over
Sky Guy.
Sky Guy. Snips
I think
over
Sky Guy to me gives me more of the cringy vibe than Snips does.
Yeah.
Here's Sky Guy. It sounds like, hey, like she's trying to be cool. Snips is a little bit of like a term of endearment of like,
it is.
hey, Snips, like this is his little, and he could say it. I could just see him saying it in a way that's like, all of a sudden over his shoulders, he's just, hey, Snips. All of a sudden, what the
Yeah.
heck is that?
I think that too.
Mm,
I could visually see them doing that. The only reason why I'm hesitating to say they maybe won't is because if they're going for that moment where it's
Mhm.
going to be like if she's in a low place, and they're having this conversation, or is he gonna make a joke and then be like, "Oh, by the way, I turned good. I'm not Vader. Like I wasn't Vader." Like I just feel like how would like I
What
feel
if
like
it's
she needs to know that first before hearing.
What
the
if it's
Snips-
the end of the
Snips
conversation
joke.
though? They have this conversation. They have
Yeah.
this.
I
Thing.
think
It's an
that's more
emotional
likely.
scene, and she's walking away or something like that, and he's like, "Oh," and snips, and she turns back around, and he says something else.
Yeah,
or
I think that's
something
more
like it.
likely.
Give it, or you can even do that Han Luke line, like it's a Han/Luke line
Yeah.
from Last Jedi, like "See you around, Snips," something like
Yeah, I
something
could
like
see
that.
that.
That's just a little like
That makes
oh,
more
and
sense.
then everyone at home, like, he gave me
Right.
Snips.
Give us our moment.
I kind of
Yeah.
feel like it's
I can see
happening.
that.
I could see that happening. Yeah, I think that might happen.
It couldn't
just
be his
don't-
first.
I don't-
It couldn't be the first.
It couldn't be the
No.
first thing because they're gonna. She would.
I don't
be,
think Sky
she'd
Guy's
be
happy.
mad. Like the reaction wouldn't be a happy reaction.
They have to.
When you see him for the first time, you're
have to
not. She's not
reestablish.
gonna be. Yeah.
Yep.
They gotta. Yeah. They gotta have that
would be
conversation first.
my Ahsoka assumption would be that if they did it,
It would be at
it'd
the-
be
Yeah.
that way. of,
Exactly.
We've had our
Final
conversation.
conversation.
We've gotten to
Yeah.
a place
Yep.
emotionally,
Yep.
and then I throw that out there.
The only other hesitation I think I might have about now it's Filoni and he'll throw out these cameos, and part of Disney and what they're doing is trying to draw people to the other shows. So it makes sense for them to be, hey, Snips, and then people be like, well, what's that? I didn't get that joke. I got to go watch Clone Wars. So that makes sense. The only part of me that thinks they might not do it,
Picture her.
I know.
That's a name I've not heard in a long time. Not since
Snips.
Clone Wars.
The
Well,
only
that's a
other
name
part why I
I've
think
not
they
heard.
might not do it is because to the people that didn't watch it, she's already new. So to come back to her character and be like, this is Ahsoka, and then hear Snips, people are like, wait, I don't,
Mhm.
Ahsoka's, like, I don't know. I feel like the people that didn't watch that,
But is
that are
it too?
now
But is
getting
it so
introduced-
small
I
though
think
that
Dave
people
likes
just might be
those
like,
things.
"Oh, I just that went over my head." I didn't.
I think
know what it
Filoni
Yeah,
was.
likes to
maybe.
exclude. He likes to put inside jokes to exclude, like, that's what that was.
Yeah.
sure, yeah, no, I
Maybe.
think it makes sense either way.
Is George involved with Ahsoka? He's probably
Not-
involved with everything.
I don't know.
Anything Filoni does, I'm sure he's still running it through The Godfather.
I know that. Well, we do know
You
that
have to.
George was on set multiple times for Mando.
Yeah.
And there's pictures of him, here holding Grogu and everything.
Why would you not? I mean, Filoni does not see George as like holding it back. I don't think.
No.
So I would imagine he would be
And I don't
still
think
talking with him.
and Favreau. I mean, Favreau.
No.
You're talking about both of them.
No.
Love. And because Favreau was working with those guys back during Clone Wars, doing
Right,
voices and
right.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's both those
Yeah.
guys have a relationship with him, and the pictures that are on set are the three of them that
Wait
are
a
sitting there
second.
like in directors' chairs,
Yep.
basically, and George is just kind of sitting there. But it doesn't feel it doesn't really feel like, oh, Dave just brought him along, and it feels like those three guys, like, oh, we talked to him, and like
That's right.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if they bounce
No,
ideas
I
off
completely
of
just
it.
changed
or
my
just
mind.
even like, hey, we have an idea. Would you be excited? Like, you don't even have to get involved. We just want to run this by you. Would you be excited about this? Like, we want to do something that makes
Yeah.
you proud. Like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be surprising.
If you're wondering, I completely just changed my mind. 100% they're going to say Snips. Here's why. I just remembered the behind the scenes of McClunky. If they were debating McClunky,
McClunky means curtains.
You wanna whip it
if
down.
Favreau's out there thinking about
That's
throwing
what I was-
McClunky in,
I actually
they're
almost
definitely
mentioned that
throwing
earlier.
Snips.
I mean, if McClunky made it, that's true.
If they almost put McClunky in
That's-
there, Snips is definitely making the
And
cut.
that was
Snips
Dave
has
who had
been
to
a-
talk him off of that.
Right.
It's like, we can't. He's like,
I mean,
no,
it's-
man, it's McClunky.
yeah,
What
no,
if
You
you
it's
want
what if
happening.
he's
Mando
like
to
Snips
do
will
it?
be
Do you
in
really
there.
want our main character to immediately lose all credibility? And
Snips
What's so
will be
funny
in there.
about Favreau is
McClunky
how
means
much is like
curtains.
D-Bob. I mean, that's like
that
it is him. It's
That
like, yeah,
is.
what it means?
It's just
curtains.
like
How would you
imagine,
like
it's
to
just
be-
imagine if D-Bob was one of the most successful people over at Disney right
It's
now
just so
and has the
funny.
keys to what they're doing.
That's the closest
But also
to Dave,
that's it.
too.
That's
Favreau's real
Favreau
life
right
guy.
now.
Hear me out. How
Like,
would
he
you like to be
crushes it in
Hayden
Iron Man,
Christensen and say, hey, look, we know you're getting back into the Star Wars world. We know a lot of the hate and stuff that came from the past.
Yeah.
You're becoming more of a fan favorite again. People want you back. We want your first line to be, hey, Snips.
How do you feel about
He's
that?
like,
What if he's like,
I'm not coming back.
is that from the animated show? Like, he's
Like,
like,
what does that even mean?
he's just
He's like, I'm sorry. I won't do it.
I won't do it. I
I'm
won't
sorry,
say.
master. And like,
Sorry.
Dave's like, you don't have to call me master, but I do appreciate it.
Well, I think it's. I think y'all might know this. Maybe you can correct me.
And I will.
The Razzie Award for Worst Actor, Hayden Christensen. Is that right?
Possibly.
The Razzie Award for the Worst Film was Attack of the
Yeah.
second one.
Clones. Yeah. I think you're right.
So I think Hayden got the Razzie.
Which you've seen Hayden in
Yeah.
other things.
Oh man,
As we've
Oh,
talked
yeah.
before.
you guys were making fun of it, but
Hayden
he's
can
in a
act.
movie called Life as a House. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
that was a season. Was that a season 2 of
Might have
our
been.
podcast joke right there?
Mark it down.
That's
Life as a House.
what we said. Hayden plays the house.
So it has to do with teen angst.
yeah,
Actually, it's just like Clone Wars. It's the same kind of.
love it.
No,
So if you're fans of that,
it's great. He was so good.
yeah,
I saw that before. I think.
I
think.
will say one of the because we're skipping ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
but we'll get into the Kenobi stuff here in a second.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about it, I do think part of my view of Hayden Christensen and all of the stuff regarding the prequels is I just think that there's so much. This is why the importance of a director. If there's a bad take,
100%.
a good director says
That ain't
another
it.
take,
Right.
or they coach him up on, hey, and everyone, it's become a joking
no, that's
punchline.
good.
Even Mark Hamill was like, oh, he would just say faster and more intense. Like George doesn't really care. He wasn't an actor's director. He was like, we need to get this
That's
stuff
right.
done. I have a vision. And I think it was Mark Hamill who said, like, I would read these lines. I'm like, George, how do you want me to like, what's his emotion? Just pretend like you found out that Darth Vader's your father. It's like, well, yeah, I know that's on the page, but what
am I?
is the
Give me
reaction? What is
Right.
he's like?
George, I
well,
read
just
the
do
script.
whatever you think you would.
Yeah.
He was like, no, whatever. Like, what's in your?
Yeah.
I need to get some direction here, and that's why
Right.
how we get no. Like it's because there wasn't any direction there.
Yeah.
So seeing some of his struggles maybe early on and seeing him in other things where he's a better actor is like, oh yeah,
I think
there's good actors all the time who have bad performances because of poor direction or poor writing
Yeah.
or poor dialogue.
Absolutely.
It's
They
like,
have to trust that the director has the overall vision because they're putting together scenes on different days in different orders in different vibes, and it's 90% green screen, and you're not talking to the guy, you're talking to a screen, and
Yeah.
it's if the director doesn't keep you in the right frame of mind, in the right attitude, in the right pace,
Yeah.
if he doesn't have a handle on all that stuff from an actor, they're going to be floundering.
I mean, even if Liam
And they kept
Neeson
him pretty flat.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was kind of the point,
Yeah.
but it just all felt flat.
it's all flat.
It didn't
If
work.
Liam Neeson had been given the line, "I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and
It's
it gets
hard to say
everywhere."
that.
You're like, there's nothing there. Like,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
even a great actor's not going to be able to nail. I'll try spinning. That's a cool trick.
That's a cool
Like,
trick.
that's- it just doesn't-
master.
It's so
Right.
all I have to say, we'll get to some of that stuff later, but that's one of the things that when you look at his why we're excited to see him back now, it's like, man, if
He's going to
with-
have an actor's director.
he's gonna have an actor's director,
I think-
and what we've seen these guys
Oh,
do
yeah.
so far with. I mean, we haven't even gotten to Boba Fett stuff that's going to be
Well, we
coming
know-
real soon. But
we
what
know
we've
how
seen
much-
with Mando has been.
We know how much
fantastic.
better Mark Hamill is as an actor.
Oh my
now.
gosh.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
They just
here's my
mature and they
prediction.
get better.
Sure, yeah.
Here's my prediction. I think this is gonna revive his career. If he's interested in continuing to act in other things outside of just coming
He
back
may
for
have
Star
been doing
Wars.
stuff. I don't know.
True.
But
But I just mean like
everybody does L.A. Law. He's been on there probably twice.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably.
No, but I just mean from like
Yeah.
an actual like
Right.
You just mean you think you'll get him?
I think this will
a
bring
boost.
him back in the spotlight of like,
Yeah.
oh wow, like they're not gonna let him not kill every scene because they know the history
That's
of
right.
his. They're not gonna let that happen.
They're going to redeem
They're gonna allow.
Ahsoka's
they're gonna
gonna see
make
the
sure
redemption
he's
of Vader.
Great.
and the redemption of Hayden Christensen.
Yep.
And what's
Yep,
so
and-
exciting is, so transition right into some Kenobi stuff.
Yeah.
I saw some pictures. Hayden seems to be really actually excited to be back in the Star Wars. I mean, I know that like when rumors started circulating a couple of years ago, because Hayden, 1 year or even 2 years. I know he showed up the same year they announced. I think it was that same year for the trailer for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, he was.
He had gone to a couple of these Comic-Con events and the Star Wars Celebration and was there and was just like, oh, I'm just here. And people were like, interesting. He's back. He hasn't been coming to these for 15 years.
And then
Like,
all
you know,
of a
just show.
sudden-
And at the same time, Ian McDermott showed up. And
Oh.
people were like,
What's
is Ian
going on
McDermott
here?
coming back? And then bang, Ian McDermott was back in Rise of Skywalker. And there was like, because he was in the works. This Kenobi stuff has been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
that there was initially a script for a movie that was almost gonna go, and then they pulled the plug on all the Star Wars story spin-offs after,
Yeah.
so it
Right.
just didn't make much money.
Right.
Which is why,
Which I'm glad, by the way, because I'd much rather have
see a
lot
series
more
of it.
hours of.
but it makes
the series.
sense that he all of a sudden got back in the circle and got kind of his feet wet. But I was gonna say there were some pictures that came out of people ran into Hayden Christensen like in New York or somewhere, maybe it was L.A. And he was just like smiling, taking pictures, and like people were like, oh, pictures with Hayden Christensen, and he had a hat on from the set, and it was
yeah.
Obi-Wan
Oh my
Kenobi,
God.
and
I saw
people were
that.
like, he's wearing this around town. This is not a guy who's like, oh, I'm reluctant to get back in Star Wars. Like he looks like
Yeah.
he's excited
That's
about it,
awesome.
which is just from
Yeah.
a real world perspective thing. That's pretty cool to see someone who maybe ended on a note where it's like, yeah, he enjoyed his process, but there was so much of just the prequel, especially at that time, so
Yeah.
much turmoil.
Yeah.
You love it, you don't like it, whatever. That now coming back and feeling like, oh, I can really, not only am I going to do this, I'm going to do multiple series and get back into it. All of a sudden went from no Hayden, and
I'm
everyone
excited.
was wanting Hayden in episode 9.
I know.
Instead, we're going to get him in 2 series instead
It's
of
even better.
Which we got his
5
voice.
minutes
We got
or-
his voice.
But remember, people were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I bet he'll be," and then we were like, "Oh, even if he did, it'd be one little." And we were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what if we got a couple minutes of Hayden Christensen? It'd be, people would lose their minds." Now we're gonna
Yeah.
get him in 2
Yeah.
Get
separate
a lot.
series.
It's gonna be cool.
So
Yeah.
let's get into some Kenobi stuff.
Yeah.
now,
Disney
now we're
ruined
at it.
Star Wars though.
And my childhood.
My childhood.
And my childhood.
Because I would be
Oh,
enjoying 10 fewer Star Wars shows if it weren't for Disney
Yeah.
shoving
Exactly.
this great content in my face, down my
I
throat.
know.
The
No, I'm.
Disney Plus.
I wanted
Can't
to end
wait.
on the prequels.
Yeah,
That's really
Right.
what you're arguing? Is
that ain't
that's
my
the last?
Disney.
It's
Yeah.
funny though. I think the conversation we're talking about with Anakin and Ahsoka is somewhat similar to what we could see happen
Yeah.
with
There's
Anakin.
similar trauma there.
almost. I mean, not the redemption part because it's a different timeline. He's Vader, but in Obi-Wan Kenobi, almost the opposite side of the coin
Right.
of them somehow meeting and Anakin. It's the opposite, telling him why I turned bad. You left me to burn.
Yeah,
Look at what you did to me.
Obi-Wan thinks he's dead too.
You're right.
right.
So I mean,
So
it's there's a lot that could unfold there too, but I
Yeah.
still keep wondering the same thing for the Kenobi series. Is like obviously they announced Hayden Christensen reprising his role as Darth Vader. Are we gonna? They're not just gonna have a Hayden Christensen be in a suit the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna see him as Vader with the mask off? Some? Are they gonna see some flashbacks?
He's gonna have to be made up a lot. He's gonna have to have his head shaved.
Yeah.
It's
That's what's.
gonna be interesting.
This is why I
Man.
think that maybe even the Kenobi series, I think is if I had to go flashback on either of the two, I think the Kenobi series is maybe more likely for
Yeah.
flashback
Oh, yeah.
because there's not the Force Ghost possibility.
Right.
No,
There's no Force Ghost of Hayden
Right.
at
That's
this
right.
time.
If you really want to
and
see
just
him,
bringing
yeah.
him back to be in the suit,
And
or
all the-
even like
all the
I'm sure
makeup, yeah.
I'm sure there'll even be a scene or two with his mask off and stuff like that. But you would think that they're bringing him that there's going to be at least some sort of, I could see some flashback scenes of some of that when Obi-Wan is in the sand of Tatooine, he's there for years and he's got nothing but his thoughts and he's thinking through all this stuff. Part of the stuff that keeps him up at night is just where did I go wrong? And there's gonna be just
Yeah.
going through his head his relationship, and it just seems like
Mm-hmm.
easy, kind of low hanging fruit opportunity there to have
just
show the two of
meditating
them
on,
and show the two of them in their prime again, and show an adventure that they went on, or just a quick 5-minute conversation of them talking about the Force or talking about the Jedi, and just
Yeah.
showing like some buddy stuff. And then have him wake up from the nightmare of what Anakin became. And like, there could just be little things like that. And then also have him as Vader. But it doesn't feel like they would come back just for him in the suit, or just for him without the helmet on because again, it's not like, it doesn't make any sense. Vader needs the mask to.
he has to have the helmet.
Yeah,
on.
he can't have it off for like
That's
right.
full scenes
right,
and be
right.
talking to people.
That's
That's what he needs to survive.
Right.
So I would just say that's more likely than even the Ahsoka,
Yeah.
even though there could be flashbacks for
No, I
Ahsoka
agree.
too, the Ahsoka thing with her getting resolution
Ghost
would
makes-
come
yeah.
from a Force Ghost
Yeah.
conversation anyways. Like a flashback isn't going to give her resolution of what
No,
Vader became.
Definitely.
It has to be either a conversation with Luke
Yeah.
Yeah.
that Luke tells her, like, hey, by the way, I was there with my dad at the end. This is what happened. Luke could give her resolution, or only Anakin himself could
Yeah.
do that, because they're the only two who know what his
That's right.
actual what actually became of him.
I could see both.
Do you think
Yeah.
that now? So going off this idea of flashbacks in the Kenobi series, do you think we see a flashback of some sort to Obi-Wan thinking back to Mustafar? Do we get like a him
Oh.
thinking back to the "I hate you," like that type of haunting him? Like, I can't get over the fact that I did this,
Mhm.
that like this actually happened, and I had to slice up my
I would say
brother,
For
my, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the most haunting thing. It's not
Mhm.
just the fact that he turned bad, but the actual moment that he lived through
sure. Yeah.
and having to be the one to confront him.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was someone else and he was like, dang, he turned bad, and someone else. It's him. Like, after all this time, I have to be the one to confront you.
Is
And-
there?
They did
Man.
tease that there would be sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
go ahead.
Kathy Kennedy did say that there would be a fight between the two of them in their announcement, that there would be a rematch, that those two would essentially, she said the words that those two would fight, that there is a Vader,
Right.
that there is a Vader Obi-Wan fight that's going to take place before the one that we see in
Yeah.
A New Hope. So there is some sort of, we know that they meet face to face,
Yeah.
which also begs question of, does Kenobi leave Tatooine to go somewhere? Because clearly he doesn't find him on Tatooine and then forget where he found him.
That's
and then
right.
Like, oh wait, Luke! I should have looked for Luke there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But go. Sorry, I just thought of that when we were talking about the announcement.
No, I was thinking because when we last see Vader in the movie, the Emperor tells him that he killed Padme, which means the children were never born.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't think that, right? He thinks they're...
So somehow he finds out that there is a son and a daughter out there, and there's
I
only
see
a few
that.
people that know it. Obi-Wan is one of them.
The son of
Yeah.
Anakin
Um,
Skywalker.
Does he...
So
yeah.
I'm like,
I mean,
how
he
does
might
that
know.
information?
I
can't remember. Does that
don't know,
does
because
that
I
come
keep
to him?
thinking...
I don't remember any of the movies that they tell him that. I don't remember it from the end of. Obi-Wan goes off to Tatooine to watch the child from a distance.
Yeah.
Leia goes with Organa, and Vader thinks they're all dead.
Yeah.
So how does he? Somehow he's got to learn
I guess the
Of
only...
that.
Like, I'm trying to think of
somehow.
just all the canon stuff from Rebels and stuff. One, getting the Inquisitors to go hunt down. We might see some of that. I am trying to also
That's how they're
remind
gonna
myself this is Kenobi, so it's not gonna. I don't think we'll see a bunch of Anakin develop or Darth Vader
No.
and developing all these Inquisitors and stuff.
No.
We might see some. We might see some Inquisitors, but I don't think we'll see all the backstory of
Especially
Vader.
because they've
I think it's
announced that
gonna
there are other lightsaber wielders that are going to be in.
So I
we'll
think
see
we'll
Inquisitors
see-
coming after Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
after Obi-Wan,
Yep.
and that's how they find out that he's where he's at or
He's
whatever.
protecting a child.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And well, because Vader also, Obi-Wan is one person that Vader knows is still alive,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously he lost in the fight.
That's right.
So he knows at least Obi-Wan
Mhm.
is out there,
That's right.
and he's probably telling people or his Inquisitors, go find him. Don't touch him though.
You bring him to me.
You bring him to me. You tell me where
Tell
he's
me
at,
where
and
he is,
I'm
and I'll
going.
go finish him.
I'll go finish him.
Yeah.
Like, not just, hey, go do it. No, it's you tell me I'm gonna go
Mhm.
finish him because I lost the last time we fought. So we know he knows, obviously Obi-Wan's still alive. But the kids thing is interesting. Will he find out that he is watching? I mean, I don't know if he'll
There's an
find out that the
interesting-
kids are alive or not.
There's
Obi-Wan
an interesting
might be able
thought there, and in light of Anakin, I'm curious, what would Anakin do if he Vader, what would he do if he found out that little boy is my son? Would he come in and take him, or would he begin a plan to actually keep him out of the way
from the Emperor
to not be pulled into the Emperor's plan?
So the good,
In other words, is he actually?
Does he know he's out there?
Yeah, and he says, "I don't want to go there.
This is gonna be my own
I don't need to
secret.
go there.
Yeah.
I don't need." That's a part of my life that it's not. I don't want to even
And what-
entertain that.
And what is the Emperor? Say no Luke enters the picture. Like, meaning in Return of the Jedi, no Luke, or even in Empire. Is Vader 100% just, I'm content with the Emperor? Because obviously,
No.
Rule of Two. Rule of Two is, Master is always at risk of being taken over by the apprentice.
Mhm.
But also, is Vader just content? Like, does he think, oh, this would be great having my son be under the Emperor and do like, or does he know, like, even though this is my path, like, even if he doesn't go good, I don't want you doing this. Like, I don't want you in, like, you wonder how he views his relationship with the Emperor, his relationship with the dark side. Again, once he does get the opportunity, we hear what he says as far as, we can overthrow the Emperor, me and you together.
That's right.
Right. As
So
soon
once
as
he
he has
finally
Luke,
does have
That
Luke,
becomes the plan.
That
but
becomes
that won't
the
happen
plan.
with a
I think-
5-year-old.
no, that would happen with a 5-year-old.
No.
Would he try? Would he see with a 5-year-old? Hey, this is my blood. Your valuable son. I can train you in the dark side. This. Option 1, or son, I gotta protect you. If the Emperor finds out, he might go after you because you're a threat.
because he knows Rule 2. If I do let you grow up and we become a 2, then he's the one that's out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But I have a feeling he won't find out about Luke and Leia.
He
At
can't.
least,
I don't think he can.
Yeah.
It just.
But
yeah.
I think to answer your question about where
Yeah,
Anakin or where Vader stance is with the Emperor, one, they're going after all the Jedi. The Inquisitors are kind of their own Vader's Inquisitors thing. It's kind of their own thing. It's not part of the Rule of Two or the Sith. So until he has someone to be that Vader himself would think of, like Luke, when that time comes, to be like, okay, this is someone who's powerful enough that we together can take out the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real need for him to do that. They can just kind of keep going how things are.
Mm-hmm.
But I would guess that, knowing Palpatine, he's still whispering in Vader's ear, "You need me. We can bring Padme back.
Yes.
We can. Padme's dead. You killed her,
Mm-hmm.
but you need me to help bring her back, and we're gonna do it."
Mm-hmm.
Just keeping Vader on a leash all the time of like, "You need me. We're gonna bring her back. Learn this ability. Go study this stuff in the Sith. Learn all this stuff." And we've seen it in like Vader Immortal. He's trying to access Padme's, I guess, like, spirit or whatever, to try and some of the comics, I think, even touch on like the all the ones or the women from Naboo that would like sit in and like try and be the queen.
Yeah.
That sat in as
Poured in.
Padme's,
Mm-hmm.
that Vader went after them to try and find them, to get the longing that he had in Padme,
Mm-hmm.
to try and get another quote unquote Padme,
Mm-hmm.
and he could, like, obviously was unsuccessful.
Right.
But I think those are things that the Emperor would be holding on to him, being like, we can bring her back and we can learn the stuff, and that's why he would not try to take him out. Because from his standpoint, he's like, I do still need him, because if this is true and I can bring her back and you can help me, I still need you. So the time's not yet ready for me to try and overthrow you.
One thing, I'm with you. One thing we could retcon effectively is, Darth Vader betrayed and murdered your father. That could play out. That could become more clearly explained in their interaction. Like, it could very well be said that guy's dead. I killed him. You didn't kill him.
Skywalker.
You didn't kill him. I killed him because he was weak.
Yeah.
He was a failure.
He says that to
Yep.
Ahsoka, not the same words, but
Right.
he tells Ahsoka, Anakin Skywalker was weak.
That's exactly right.
Basically showing
I
through
didn't-
the verbiage that
took the
it's
power
separate
back.
people.
That's
There's
right.
Vader and there's Anakin,
That's
two
right.
different people.
And
Yeah.
also, and I think it could also flesh out the idea of, I mean, as you're watching the movie, you think, how could he turn so quickly? But the reality is, I think of it's more like the Sith. It's more like the Lord of the Rings, when the power of the ring has you. You're not yourself anymore.
No.
You are
And that's quick.
consumed.
That's
and
quick.
Yeah.
it's not that you have a choice. It just takes control of you.
Yeah.
And you're not. Anakin didn't go in there and kill all the younglings.
No, he was Vader.
That was Vader, and it was the control. So when those moments come when you're pulled back, it's jarring because there's a glimpse of something, and then it's gone, and the hate, and it's all back again.
Yeah.
Well, what's the Yoda for? Like, soon it will dominate your destiny, and like he talks about, like it's dangerous. You step over the line, you
That's
don't
right.
have control of all that.
It's
stuff.
not you
Like, it doesn't-
anymore that's
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah,
it's
it's
your
It's out of your
Yeah.
It's chosen, and that's. I mean, that goes along with strike me down, and your journey toward the dark side
Yeah.
will be
Yep.
complete.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one step. It's stepping off a cliff. There's no way back.
Yeah.
So it makes the redemption even more important. But I do think there could be room for making that more clear
Yeah.
that because Obi-Wan hasn't seen that yet,
Yeah.
No.
not like Ahsoka did.
Yeah.
So there's room for that
Yeah.
to experience that. Wait a minute, this is not the same person. You're not Anakin at all. There's
True.
And
Yeah.
And
so
seeing that, like, no, Anakin is what I saw him. Yeah, we had these arguments. We had the dispute on Mustafar, right? We had our fight.
mm-hmm.
But they were still, the whole beginning of that fight is them still trying to have a debate and talk. No, I'm with the Republic.
That's right.
I'm with democracy. And
Right.
you're fighting. Everything you're saying right now is you think it's accurate, but you're aligning with the wrong side.
Mm-hmm.
And Anakin's response is, "No, the Jedi turned against me. Don't you turn against me too?" All this stuff, right? So
yeah.
having that conversation, coming back to now, he's realizing even that from when we last encountered is completely out the door. He's not even
That's right.
thinking rationally anymore. He
No.
is just evil, fully
Completely-
gone and
completely
consumed by
gone.
Vader.
Well,
yeah,
two things there. One, the line. I know a lot of people have talked about this when the show was announced too. That people were excited, and it made sense that there will be a confrontation before
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
when they see in New Hope. Because in New Hope, they don't just show up and he's like, "I thought you were dead." Like they don't.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
they've
right.
seen each other.
Mhm.
Like
They
they
know.
very much are familiar with
Right.
each other.
Right.
Right.
And when Vader fights Luke, he says the line, "Obi-Wan once thought as you did," and talks and says, when he says there's good in you, and he says Obi-Wan once thought as you did, it suggests that there is going to be a
Mhm.
moment in this series when Obi-Wan
Saying the
confronts
same
him and
thing.
tries to pull him and get him back,
and he can't
and
do
he
it.
can't do it. And it's only until Luke later, but that he tries and fails there. So two things I was thinking of is, one, I think that there's going to be some element of that when he first sees
Yeah.
him. But then two, I wonder how I would love to see, and again, we're going to get it in the series, is when does Obi-Wan start sensing that Anakin is Vader in this sense that he didn't kill him, that he's still alive?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, true.
when does word get to him? Is it
He's
in
like,
the Force?
Anakin
Like, is he
Vader.
cut off from the Force, or does he feel something happen, or the presence of when he
Gosh,
gets
could you
closer to him,
imagine?
or anything that
Holy smokes.
it's all of a sudden hits him that there's no way, that's impossible, I killed him, or is it just even like news
That's
across the
impossible.
galaxy?
That's
Uh,
not true.
News across the galaxy on the HoloNet.
Right.
They show on
This just
Empire Day. This
Anakin
just in,
Skywalker
Anakin Skywalker is
is
now Darth Vader,
Darth
and he
Vader.
is on a roll.
Young
It's-
Skywalker.
It's Skywalker in the lead.
Proops.
Hey, I got a question.
So I can't
too.
wait to see those two things of those combos.
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
finding out and
We're trying to run in an hour this
Yeah.
time.
all right.
That will be a Star Wars miracle. When did Obi-Wan get Vader's lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber? When did that happen?
He picked it up when he sliced him.
At the end of 3.
They see him lean down. That Mustafar picks up his saber and walks
Your father
away.
wanted you to have this one.
Anakin goes,
I want to see them confront. They'd be like, you can turn good. He goes, no, I'm Darth Vader, and give that lightsaber to Luke.
To my son.
all right, Joe. Man, he starts walking away. He says, wait, I was just kidding. You at least give that to my son when he's old enough.
What son? He didn't even know him.
Right.
That doesn't make, that makes it even more of him.
Yeah.
He would have,
just not
though.
telling
He
the
would have
truth.
wanted him to have it.
Yeah.
From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
But there are little things like that.
there's so much of the stuff too
Yeah.
that's just real world stuff that didn't line up just because George was still writing the stories.
Man,
as he
I
went
wish they
along.
would have fixed that. Did I tell you my edit in episode 4? Tangent. We'll save it for another time.
Ooh, you can tease it.
I can tease it.
Yeah,
Tease it.
Go back and watch episode 4. There's a moment there where Obi-Wan says, "I don't recall owning any droids."
Yeah.
You can watch it and go,
I don't
well,
recall
it's a
owning any
real easy
droids.
fix.
Yeah,
It's a real easy edit.
because
I wish they would have.
he fought with R2 a number of times.
That's
not
exactly
just,
right.
Yeah.
That would be one that okay. Han shot first? Great. You could have taken that one out. That would have been easy.
Yeah.
Leia also has remarkable memory of her mother.
Right.
That
True.
she's very beautiful and
Images mostly.
doesn't. What literally baby that's 6
Yeah.
seconds old has
Right.
any memory?
Exactly.
Could you argue that's the Force?
Could be the Force.
Could be.
Could be the Force.
The
And the
Force.
Force was
Force
like, should we
vision.
help Luke remember? Nah.
No.
Force
no.
vision, maybe?
It's not like he'll ever have a
no
confrontation
memory
with
of
his
my mother,
parents.
I never met my mother.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Well,
But there's always that. There's always.
I
that
know we were
stuff.
talking about Hayden Christensen, Anakin, Vader this episode, but now I'm super excited just to get these shows here.
Man, we're talking about Anakin. I'm excited about seeing Obi-Wan. And
Oh, I know, that's what I mean. Like
Man.
Obi-Wan, it makes me think like,
I can't.
what
wait.
are we gonna see in the show? Is he gonna go to Dagobah? Is he gonna see Yoda? Are we gonna get Yoda? Are we gonna see him go? I find it hard to imagine he'll be on Tatooine the whole time, or Tatooine. as some of us say.
we
It
know
would-
that Han Solo and Chewbacca are hanging around Tatooine because
and Boba.
And it wouldn't really make
Boba's in
sense.
there.
We're
They're
talking about it. It
Jabba.
wouldn't make
Off and
sense
on.
for Vader to find
Falcon
him
flies in.
on. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for him to find him on Tatooine and then leave him there. Like
Yeah.
you almost think that he has to encounter him somewhere other than Tatooine, or
Yeah.
else he would know.
Right.
Like, or he would just want. Well, that's weird. You went back to my home planet.
right,
Like this is where Vader grew up.
right.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting. I know that a lot of people there's kind of you can make up your own headcanon of some people suggest that Vader has avoided Tatooine because that's a memory of his childhood
And
Mhm.
and Anakin's childhood, and he doesn't
and
want to go
sand
back
people.
there at
and
all.
sand.
And he hates sand. It's everywhere.
Well, and remember,
It's
we're
everywhere.
not. They're not on television.
no,
You could be a Skywalker and live as a moisture farmer for 1,000 years, and no one would ever know you're there.
no.
If there's a
Until you start moving rocks.
farthest
Then all
point
of a
from the center of the universe, this is the point, or this is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bright spot of the universe. This is the place it's farthest from. I
Right.
mean,
sudden-
it's possible they could live there and nobody knows there's a Skywalker.
Yeah.
I just love what a time we have right now. Where, I mean, at the time of recording this podcast, we got Book of Boba Fett coming in December, late December.
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett.
What a world!
got-
what a world!
Which is right
We've
here.
got,
man. It's around the corner.
Ahsoka. We've got the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. We've got
just
Mando
saw
season
Visions
3.
came out not too long ago. Got the
Visions.
Visions.
Mando
All that.
season 3.
hmm
We've got. I mean, my gosh, we're almost into 2022 already. Sometime in 2022, there's going to be Star Wars Celebration 2022. There's going to be announcements.
which, by the way, have to go to a Star Wars.
Are we
celebration.
going?
I think we should do it.
What are they doing? Are they in California? Or do they move them around?
They move.
I think they move them
don't
around. Don't know they have one in
I
London.
think the
they have one in
2022 one
Anaheim.
is in California though.
It
Maybe.
might be. In
But
Anaheim.
who knows?
But there's
Okay.
going to be an announcement about. A lot of people speculate there'll be an announcement about either the Taika movie and find
Oh,
out more
yeah.
about that,
Mm.
Yep.
or the Kevin Feige, whether that's the same.
Acolyte maybe. Some
Acolyte?
Some trailers.
There's gonna possibly a trailer. A lot of people
Acolyte.
think there's and also obviously Rogue Squadron is the actual first movie that they announced
true.
that's coming out.
Yep.
They actually went out on a
True,
limb
true,
and said
true.
this is the first one that's coming. So
There is
Who
a
knows?
Taika Easter egg. It's all the way back to episode 4. Yeah, did you notice it's in there?
I know the Taika Easter.
It's in there the whole time. Taika
Is it?
Wootini. It's in there.
That's it.
The
They
whole
knew it from the
time.
beginning. George was playing the long game. George was predicting at the
Every time
time.
he sees, he's like, I told you I'm in this
Uh-huh.
movie, and you hear Taika.
That's perfect.
That's
I love it. So much to be excited for.
Yeah, man.
Kenobi, Ahsoka,
Yep.
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen.
Sorry, Master, but we're out of time, Master.
Last thing, and then we'll wrap it up.
I am trying.
Did everybody see
I'm
Finished
trying.
Visions?
Visions, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that the rumored news about the studio who made the 9th Jedi episode
Yep.
Mhm.
has written a whole story and it wants to pitch a show for finishing that storyline.
Wow, that was a
Ooh.
good one.
That was a good one too, and it's
Yeah.
one where it felt like when I was watching it, like, oh, this is some
That's the
history,
lightsaber maker.
some history and
Right?
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
lightsaber
yeah.
maker.
Yeah.
They show up in the yeah.
Mhm.
So that
Like
that
that.
looks like a. I was like, that's one I want
That
to know
would
more
be
about. So
cool.
if that ends up happening, that would be cool.
That would
Anyway.
be cool.
You know where to find us.
Also, more Bad Batch coming at some point. Almost forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Right. With lights.
Clankers.
Name's
What's
Reeks.
going to go on with Omega?
Oh, man.
I forgot about
Omega.
Oh,
about
the
Bad
batch
Batch
is coming
completely.
around again.
Omega's gonna
I
be
love
an
it.
Obi-Wan. No, I'm just
The reason I was thinking about that is that there's got to be
Boba.
some. Ooh.
Boba.
We gotta have
True.
a
True.
Boba Mega.
Alpha Omega.
Yeah, Alpha Mega tied
True.
together.
I love it. That job I know about that.
Well, Hayden Christensen couldn't be more excited for the news.
Hayden, if you're watching,
Yeah, if you're watching,
Congrats,
I'm
brother.
sorry.
I'm glad
I'm
you're back,
actually-
man.
congrats, man.
Welcome back.
Keep it real.
Welcome back. We'll have to get you on the cast sometime. Anyway, you guys can always reach out to us on Instagram @_Star Wars guys. Message us with thoughts about the episode. If you got any questions, it could be anything.
Ahsoka
Questions you want
assumptions.
answered? Ahsoka
Ooh.
assumptions.
Mando maybes.
Boba Betts.
Boba Betts.
Bad
Anything?
Batch.
Yeah.
Bets. I would.
Bad
bet.
Batch.
Kenobi
Batch,
could
yeah.
be's.
Kenobi could be.
Could be's. That's not bad.
Um,
That's how we do
Any-
it.
Or if
any
you
of
don't
your
like
thoughts.
any of these,
yeah,
yeah.
let us know some predictions. Let us know what you thought of the Hayden Christensen news. Some of the things you're most excited for and seeing him back on screen as both Vader and as Anakin Skywalker. What you think about the Ahsoka show. What you think about could happen in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So let us know your thoughts. You can reach out to us again. That's on Instagram @_Star Wars guys. And if you're watching on YouTube, drop some comments. Let us know you made it to the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Let us know your favorite part of the episode.
Tell
and
us
what you'd
about
like to
the
see.
Taika Easter egg.
Oh,
Tell us about
if
the
you're
Taika
watching,
Easter egg. Comment about the Taika Easter egg.
that's how we'll know.
And we'll see you next time. As always, may the Force be with you.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough. But at least I'm in the Ahsoka show.
But at least I'm back and beloved by all Star Wars.
hate you.
I wear a Star Wars hat on the street sometimes.
If you made it this far and you enjoyed that episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend about us here at Star Wars Guys. Your support is much appreciated and it never goes unnoticed. We'll see you all in the next episode.